pleasure to welcome you to Sri Radha Gopinath Temple. We have this Sunday gathering every week. Today is quite special, as it is the beginning of our preparations for next year's Gaur Purnima. In other words, it's the last day of this year's festival. In this beautiful prayer by Vasudev Ghosh, he is expressing not only what he has heard, not only what he has felt or read, but what he has directly seen. Vasudev Ghosh is one of the very confidential, personal associates of Lord Caitanya. We read about him and his brothers, Govinda Ghosh and Madhava Ghosh, in all of the great biographies of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Especially Vrindavan Das Thakur and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, describe these three brothers. They were especially very dear to the Lord. Some special effects to wake you up. This whole material existence is just a series of special effects to wake us up ultimately. They were very dear to the Lord and all the devotees for the sweetness and the devotion of their kirtan, chanting Krishna's names. Whenever these three brothers would sing, Sri Vrindavan Dham would appear. Bhavadvita Bhagavatas Tirthabhuta Swayam Vibhu. Srimad Bhagavatam tells that wherever there is a person who loves the Lord, who loves Krishna, all the holy places are present there. Why is that? Because wherever the Lord is personally present, that is a holy place, that is a tirtha. And it is said that Krishna never steps a foot out of Vrindavan. But the great devotees, they carry Krishna always in their hearts. And Krishna is manifesting to them in their hearts. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridesha arjuna tishtati. Actually, Krishna is in the heart of every living being as the Paramatma. But yayatamam prapadyante. Krishna reveals himself according to the nature of our love, our surrender. So for those who offer love and devotion to Krishna with pure hearts, Krishna is always manifesting himself within the heart. And Krishna manifests himself through the world, to the world, through the hearts of his devotees. Therefore, wherever a devotee is, that place is Vrindavan. And Vasudev Ghosh and his brothers, they would sing the glories of Vrindavan with so much love and so much devotion and so much sincerity that everyone's hearts would melt. When they would chant the name Radharani, Krishna, and their associates, very challenging. Somehow or other. They would appear, and devotees could feel them. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he made Vasudev Ghosh and his brothers, every single year in Puri, the leaders of one of the 7 kirtan parties during Rath Yatra. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would dance to his kirtan. In Navadvip, they were in the house of Srivas singing and dancing. They were intimate associates of Nityananda Prabhu. And we read when Lord Nityananda with his devotees went to Panihati, the Ghosh brothers led a kirtan that drove Nityananda Prabhu and everyone mad in the ecstasy of love. So Vasudev Ghosh has written many beautiful poems and prayers about his experiences with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They encapsulize the philosophy which is the essence of all knowledge and all Vedas. Krishna tells in Gita, Vedaishta sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit veda vedeva chaham. I am the author of the Vedas. I'm the compiler. And all the Vedas, ultimately, I am to be known. So Vasudev Dutt is singing about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the very essence of all knowledge. And Lord Chaitanya himself explained his purport to the word Mahajano Yena Gadasa Banda, that one cannot really understand the conclusions and the essence of all knowledge and how to attain it, no matter how much study we do. But when we observe and follow in the footsteps of the great souls, then it can be easily understood. Vasudev Dutt, all glories, he says, to the dear son of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi. All the 3 worlds offer prayers unto his lotus feet. In Nilachala he holds the conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower, while in the town of Nadia he holds a sannyasi's staff and water pot. It is said that in olden times, as Lord Ramchandra, he killed the demon Ravana. Then later, as Lord Krishna, he revealed the splendorously opulent pastimes of Goloka. Now he has come again as Lord Gauranga, the golden avatar, endowed with the ecstatic mood of Sri Radha, and has spread widely the chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna. Vasudev Ghosh says, with folded hands, he who is Gaura is he who is Krishna, is he who is Jagannath. When Lord Chaitanya returned from Gaya, he manifested openly to the devotees the inner secrets and purpose of his descent into the world. He was deeply immersed in the highest mahabhav of the feelings of the love of Sri Radha for Krishna. Radha bhava duti suvalitam naomi Krishna swarup. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna who came to search and taste the sweetness of the love of Radha, the knower of everything. There is one thing by his own inconceivable Lila that he doesn't know unless he takes the role of Radha herself to experience it. And not only that, but he came to distribute Radha's love to the world through this very simple process of sincerely, without duplicity, chanting the holy names. So much better than the cell phones. After some time, in the house of Srivas, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu would perform kirtan with his devotees. First they started having kirtan all day. And one day Lord Caitanya said to the devotees, "We are chanting all day, but night we are wasting in sleep." Human life is so precious, and every moment of human life is the most precious thing. From this day on, let us chant for the next 1 year, all night, every night. You do not sound very enthusiastic. But when the devotees heard that, they didn't think of, what about sleep? They didn't think about, if we're chanting all day and then we're chanting all night for 1 year? They were not making any material considerations. They just wanted to please the Lord. And they all were so very, very happy when he made that request. They all responded with a very tumultuous, enthusiastic Hari Bol. So they began these kirtans. And Lord Caitanya would only allow the very, very most intimate, closest associates of his, who had no material desires whatsoever, to enter into these kirtans. The reason is because they were so deep that a person who had any desires based on the selfish ego, they could not appreciate, they could not understand. And Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he was always in the role of a devotee, because he wanted to teach us by his example how to be a devotee. And knowing of past, present, and future, Lord Caitanya saw at the time in India and how in the future it would be very fashionable to proclaim that I am God. That spiritual teachers would claim, I am God, and you are God, and everyone is God, and God is one. But Lord Caitanya was teaching that true love of God can only be understood when we realize this achintya bheda bheda tattva. That we're inconceivably simultaneously one with God and different from God. Like the ray of the sun is one with the sun, it gives off heat and light. In quality, we are one with God. We are Satchit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss, the eternal soul. But as the sun ray is only a little part of the sun, similarly, Mamayvam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. We are a fragmental part of Krishna, a sacred divine spark of God. And therefore, jivara swarupoi krishnara nityadas, the eternal nature of that spark, the soul, is we are servants of God. And that service is it's not a limitation. Krishna did not create us in such a way to limit us, our potential. Krishna created us as jivas so that we could have the full experience of ecstatic love and taste God's ecstatic love and understand the ecstatic love between all jivas when our hearts are centered around watering the root of the tree, satisfying Krishna. So Lord Caitanya, he was God, but he was acting like a devotee, and he was speaking as a devotee. And some of his devotees, from studying the scriptures and seeing his qualities, they understood, you are Krishna. And whenever anybody would say that, he would hold his ears, block his ears with his hands, and run away and cry out, Vishnu, Vishnu, do not contaminate my heart by calling me God. I am the eternal servant of the Lord. That was his spirit. His philosophy was not to be God. His philosophy was to love God. And in loving God, to love every living being. That was the gift that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. Haridas Thakur was always chanting God's names in the spirit of Lord Chaitanya. And somebody asked him, what is the goal of chanting Hare Krishna? Is the goal liberation, mukti? And Haridas Thakur said, the goal of the chanting of the holy names of the Lord is not to improve your materialistic life, even to the extent of elevation to higher planets. It is not to get yogic mystic powers to perform miracles before people's eyes. It is not even liberation. The goal of chanting the holy names of the Lord is to awaken the potential within all of us of prema bhakti, ecstatic love for Krishna, to realize the sweetness of Krishna's love for us, which is infinite, and to realize our infinite love for Krishna. That is the highest experience of happiness. That is the most inclusive form of liberation. And he said, liberation from suffering is a natural byproduct of one who experiences prema, pure love. That is the goal of the chanting of the holy names. That is the real benediction that Lord Chaitanya came to give us. But he wanted to teach us how to chant. So he took the role of a devotee. And he was so humble that he would serve all other devotees. He would see someone who had just washed their clothes, and he would pick up their clothes and carry it home for them. He would go to the Ganga and see sometimes people would be bathing in the Ganga. And Lord Chaitanya, this is after he manifested his Lila of the Sankirtan movement. He would bring their clothes. He would bring them tilak. He would serve them prasad. He would love to serve the devotees. Servant of the servant of the servant. And it was very difficult. Advaita Acharya, Lord Chaitanya would always go to touch his feet out of respect and honor. And Sri Advaita, this is my beloved Lord. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is Krishna. You can't touch my feet. I am your servant. And Advaita would try to touch Lord Chaitanya's feet, but Lord Chaitanya was very powerful. So Advaita could not ever touch his feet. But Lord Chaitanya would always touch Advaita's feet. Hare Krishna. When Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda tried to do that, usually they both won. But with Advaita, only Lord Chaitanya. This was his mood. I'm a devotee. Servant of the servant. But from time to time, when he would go into very high states of ecstasy, as everybody would dance and chant the holy names, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu would fulfill their desires like a glimpse by revealing his original nature as Krishna. But there was one pastime which marks such a prominent place in the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, where Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu entered into the mood of the Supreme Absolute Truth, the personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, Krishna, for 21 consecutive hours, just to fulfill the desires of his devotees. He was in the house of Srivas. Like any other day, they were performing Nam Sankirtan. Everyone was dancing, singing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the role of a devotee, was dancing right among them, embracing them, weeping in tears of love, chanting God's names with their arms raised. Suddenly the Lord did something that he never did before. He went right up to Srivas Thakur's altar and sat in the seat of Vishnu. In that seat were Shalagram Shilas. Lord Chaitanya picked up all the Shalagram Shilas. He sat on the seat and put the Shalagram Shilas on his lap. And the devotees had never been so happy. Our Lord, we want to serve him, but he never accepts our service. They were praying, they were yearning, they were longing to serve the Lord to their heart's content, but he never accepted, because he was a devotee. He accepted in his heart, but not in form. But on this day, he was going to accept all of their services. And they looked at him, and he looked at them, and he said, "Sing the bathing song." And they understood exactly what that meant. We can perform Abhishek for Lord Chaitanya. And they got barrels and buckets and pots of Ganga water, and they performed a beautiful Abhishek for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then they decorated his body with jewels and with garments. At that time, he had very beautiful, long, curling hair. They offered arti. And then they started offering food. And whatever they offered, he immediately ate it. They offered him hundreds of pots of Ganga water, and within seconds he drank it all. Then they started bringing in pots of kheer and condensed milk and dahi. Instantly. They brought him thousands of bananas within moments. The Lord was revealing, like at Govardhan, at Anakuta. The Lord can accept any offerings, anywhere, at all times. He has unlimited capacity. You and me, try eating 1,000 gallons of Ganga water and 1,000 bananas, and then a few buckets of sweet rice and condensed milk. And tell me if you'll still be sitting on the throne. Probably be sitting on another kind of throne. It comes out. So, the devotees were so happy. And Lord Chaitanya happened to see one very simple maidservant. Her name was Duki. Uneducated, extremely poor, unknown. She was just going to the Ganga and helping the devotees get the water. The devotees would get the water and bring it, and she would just be carrying the water and putting it in nice lines so that another devotee would take the water that she would place there and give it to another devotee who would give it to another devotee, and they would bathe Lord Caitanya. Lord Caitanya saw her and asked Srivas, who is this lady? And he said, her name is Dukhi. Dukhi means one who suffers. Usually in India, in those days, if someone lost several children and finally another child was born, they would call something like Dukhi, thinking that the god of death will feel sorry for this girl if she's named one who suffers and let her live. Something like that. Otherwise, why would you name your daughter Dukhi? So Srivas said her name is Dukhi. And Lord Caitanya saw that she was sincere. All she was doing was just, with love and devotion, trying to assist everyone else by making the water in a nice place for them. He said, this name, Dukhi, does not sit properly in my heart. From this day, I call her Sukhi. Which means happy one. But when he gave her the name Sukhi, he gave her ecstatic love of God simultaneously. Supremely happy. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to fulfill all the desires of all the devotees who were there. So he was calling on them one by one. It's actually a very long story, and we have a very small amount of time. So I'm just going to focus on a few events that happened. He turned to Gangadas Pandit, who when Lord Chaitanya was younger, Gangadas was his teacher. The Supreme Lord accepted a teacher, and Gangadas taught. He said, Gangadas, do you remember many years ago, the ruling party, they hated Hindus. And they were actually chasing after you and your family with the intent to torture, rape, and molest your wife and daughters. And you were running away from them. And you were trying to hide. And you ran at night to the Ganga. And there was no boatman to take you away. And you knew they were coming. And there was nothing you could do. The Ganga was a very, very swift current. It would be impossible to swim across it. You were cornered. And when you heard that they were coming, you were weeping and crying. What's going to happen to my family? Worse than death. At that time, an old boatman appeared in a boat. And you, with a weeping voice, you said, boatman, please save me. Please give me shelter. Please give shelter to my family and carry me across the river. That boatman came out of nowhere in the middle of the night and took you across the river. Lord Chaitanya said, nobody knows this story, do they, Gangadas? But I do, because I was that boatman. I descended from the spiritual world in the guise of a boatman just to protect you and your family because you were crying my holy names with such sincerity. He looked to Advaitacharya and he said, please ask any benediction from me. I will give you anything. And Advaita Acharya, he only said a sentence, but so meaningful. There could be volumes of purports to this sentence. He said, you have already fulfilled all my desires. Whatever I wanted, whatever I prayed for, I received. What does that mean? Advaita Acharya prayed for years with tears for Krishna to appear into this world to spread Hari Kirtan and to give the world the opportunity to love Krishna, to spread the highest dharma. Because Lord Chaitanya appeared in this world, and now he had inaugurated the Sankirtan movement. And without discrimination, he was giving Krishna consciousness to everyone and anyone who would accept it. And he was completely now, he not only did that, but he always wanted to worship the Lord as God, but the Lord never allowed any devotee to do that. And now he's sitting on the throne of Vishnu, and he's allowing us to feed and to bathe. And he's giving the ultimate satisfaction to all the devotees. He said, you've already fulfilled my every prayer. I want nothing else from you. Then Lord Chaitanya said, bring Sridhar. Some people said, who was Sridhar? At that time, the devotees didn't know him. He said, you go to the edge of the town, Simantadweep, and there, Sridhar is living. Lord Chaitanya explained the life of Sridhar to all the devotees, and it's recorded in the scripture. He said, go there to the outskirts of town, because all night long he's loudly chanting Krishna's names. And the materialistic people around there, they don't like him at all. They think this is such hypocrisy. The man's in poverty and he's chanting Krishna's names. Is he just showing off his religion? What nonsense. What is Krishna giving you? You're so poor. It's not out of devotion that he's chanting. This is what they would spread around and talk about. What to speak if they had newspapers or internets. They were spreading in all directions in that area. The Sridhar, he has no devotion. It's just that he's so hungry. His stomach is burning and he's screaming out the names of Hari due to hunger. They would chastise him. They would blaspheme him. Sometimes they'd throw an old rotten piece of fruit at him and say, eat and shut up. This is the way they treated. But he was such a saint that the Supreme Lord was longing for his association. Lord Chaitanya told all the devotees that when he was younger as Nimai Pandit, every day he would go to Kolavecha Sridhar's little place where he sold his banana products. He would take the trunk of a banana tree, he would buy it for really cheap, and he would cut it into many little pieces and sell it. That was how he made his living. Kola. Every now and then, he would get some bananas, and that was a treasure. And he would sell the bananas. Sometimes he would have banana leaves to sell for plates. Sometimes some banana flowers or some banana roots, which he would cut up and sell. And he would sell it for the least possible price, because he was feeling so deeply sympathy and concern for any customer that they shouldn't be inconvenienced by me. The Lord said he was as honest as Maharaj Yudhishthira. Sometimes business people will say, for you I make no profit. But they're usually not like Maharaj Yudhishthira. Whatever he would say would be totally honest truth. He had no ulterior motives. He had no attachments. He was so renounced. He would only make a very small amount of money every day. And as soon as he made the money, before he even went home with the money, he would take half of that and buy various offerings for Mother Ganga. And he would give the least possible price that he could sustain himself. And Nimai would say, I will give you half. Now you are cheating me. He said, I'm not cheating you. This is a good price. He said, no, it is too much. I will give you half. They would, Nimai, every day, he loved Sridhar so much, just to give him his association and to receive his association. Nimai would come to argue the price of bananas every day for 3 hours. That's rasa. And at the end of the day, usually at the end of the argument, Lord Chaitanya would often just say, I will just take them for nothing. And he would pick them up and start walking away. And Sridhar would say, no, you can't just take them for nothing. And Lord Chaitanya, why are you becoming so violent with me? You are supposed to be gentle and renounced. Why are you so attached to these bananas? And Sridhar would say, no, if you want these bananas, please take these bananas. Lord Chaitanya said, you taking from me, don't you understand? But you worship the Ganga every day. Don't you know who I am? Who am I? And Sridhar would say, you are a very learned Brahmin. He said, I am the Lord and Master of Mother Ganga. It is from me that she emanates. And Sridhar would say, you are so mischievous. You can say anything, but how can you say that?